Hello my beautiful friends, it's Amanda here and I can't believe it's already time for my 2018 Best of the Year favorites. At the end of every year I take a couple of videos to just go over what I think are the best of the best products. So everything I'm going to discuss in my Best of 2018 series was released this year or at the very end of last year, and those just didn't get a fair chance to get into the best of the best in the year they were released. So there will be a couple of products that sneak in this year that were released in 2017 back in November or December timeframe. But for the most part, everything I'm going to discuss in my favorite series were things that were released this year in 2018. I'm starting off with my face-based favorites, so we're going to talk about primers, foundation, concealer, powder. Then the next video will be face color favorites, so things like blush, bronzer, and highlight will be coming up in the very next video. Today, it's all about that base. I'm so excited to finally film this because I don't watch anybody else's favorites until I finish filming mine. That way I don't get like influenced by their choices. But Emily Noel has already been releasing her favorites videos and I'm dying to watch them, so just really excited to film mine so that I can watch hers. Let's talk about primers. I'm not really big into trying a lot of new primers. I have really dry skin, so when I find a hydrating primer that works for me, I tend to stick with that. However, I do want to give a shout out to this little gal right here. This is the POREFESSIONAL Pearl Primer. This released at the end of the year last year from CAUSEMETICS. I have the mini size here. You can get a mini for $13. The full size is $32. I just went for the mini to test it out, and I only use this on areas where I have more pores. So right around the center of my face, around my nose, the very tops of my cheeks, and in the center of my chin, sometimes in the center of my forehead. I don't really like this as an all over face primer. Like I mentioned, I tend to prefer more moisturizing primers, but I like this so much more than the original POREFESSIONAL. I think it just looks better on my skin. I think it works better. Overall, I don't have as much issues with it like looking flaky or balling up on my face. So I do want to give a little shout out to this primer. Even though it launched in 2017, it was the end of the year, so I think we can sneak it in. Let's talk about something that is probably the biggest win of the year as far as I'm concerned. Coconut Fix Plus is permanent. It became permanent this year. I am such a huge fan of Fix Plus in general, and I love coconut things. So a Coconut Fix Plus is just, I have no words for how happy I am that MAC finally heard our cries. All last year I would make jokes like we should make a petition to make Coconut Fix Plus permanent. The people have spoken. Here it is. I want like a beam of light to shine down on it and be like, oh. You can tell mine's almost empty. Don't worry, I have about a jillion backups because I love this stuff so much. I go through it like water. Please don't drink your Fix Plus. However, feel free to douse your face in it at all times, because that's what I do. 2018 was a great year for foundations. Not only did we see a bunch of foundations launch with large shade ranges, but we saw a few favorites get expanded shade ranges as well. I'm so happy to see that. I know this is something that's going to continue to trend into 2019, and I'm real happy about it. I have 5 foundations that I want to talk about. I know that's a lot, but I think these are all great products. 3 out of the 5 products I'm about to mention, I did do dedicated videos where I either did full shade range swatches, wear tests, or both. So any relevant videos that I have done on these products will be linked down in the description box. If you want to see more, you want to see swatches, wear tests, things like that, check down there and I might have already done a video for you. Let's start here. This is the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation. This one's priced at $12.99. It is available in 16 shades, which isn't great when you look at all of these foundations that are launching with 30 and 40 shades. But it's pretty darn good for Physicians Formula, considering that their face-based products were previously only releasing in 1 or 2 shades, with the darkest one being like light medium. So for them to launch this new foundation with 16 shades is such a huge step forward for them. I really hope that they continue to expand the shade range of this foundation because I have thoroughly enjoyed it. It feels so lightweight on my skin. I won't go into too much detail because I did do a whole dedicated video on this, but I am wearing this today mixed with another foundation I'm going to talk about. I love the way it looks. I love the way it feels. I love that this represents an expansion for a brand like Physicians Formula. So keep up the good work. I would love to see this foundation double in shade range this next year. So hopefully that's in the works. I don't know, we'll see. Tweet Physicians Formula and tell them we need more shades, because this is a really good foundation. The next two foundations I want to mention, I want to talk about together because I think they're very, very similar in formula. They're also similar in packaging. It's the ColourPop No Filter Foundation and the CoverGirl Matte Made Foundation. These both come actually in glass bottles. They both have a little pump on top. They both run around $12. The CoverGirl Matte Made has 40 shades. No Filter has 42. Amazing shade range. I was able to swatch all the shades of the Matte Made. I do have a video on this No Filter foundation. I just don't have all the shades to swatch them. But I think that the formula on these is very, very similar. This is a natural matte finish. I have dry skin and I find that both of these wear really nicely on my dry skin. This is the kind of formula that's gonna work for a lot of people, a lot of different skin types, both such good releases. I would love to see both of these brands come out with a radiant version, still with the like 40 plus shades. Hopefully these got such a good response that they'll want to do more like finish versions, more radiant versions. And even so, the natural matte finish really did work for me, and I think it would work for a lot of people. Foundations. Killing it in 2018. The last two foundation type products I want to mention actually aren't foundations. One is a CC cream and one is a full coverage moisturizer, which is basically a CC cream. This is the Buildable Blur CC cream from Thrive Cosmetics. I have been so hooked on this stuff. I'll tell you why I prefer this over the IT Cosmetics CC cream. First of all, it's the same price. This is 38 bucks. You're getting the exact same amount, same style of packaging, but the Buildable Blur CC comes in extra shades. This one comes in 18 shades, whereas the IT Cosmetics just expanded their range up to 12 shades. So more options here. I also find this to be a little bit more skin-like. It's not quite as like tacky or dewy looking. This just blends right in and it just looks like my skin, but better. It wears so well. I've just really, really enjoyed this. I've actually given this product to both my mom and my mother-in-law, and they both love it too. This is just the kind of product that a lot of people are gonna enjoy. It's not too full coverage. It's not too dewy. It's not too matte. It's just right in the middle. And I love that. For the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Foundation, they call this a full coverage moisturizer. This has less coverage than the CC cream in my opinion, but it's basically just like a sheer hydrating CC cream. This is not quite as dewy and tacky feeling on my skin as the original IT Cosmetics CC cream. This is one of those easy, just slap it on and go kind of products for me. This one comes in 12 shades. It is $39.50, which I feel is a little bit too expensive for what it is. But even so, I have thoroughly enjoyed using this. I love a really hydrating face product, especially in the winter. So I think this was a smart release from IT Cosmetics. And again, I hope we continue to see them expanding their shade range. I'm happy that they've chosen to do that, and I just hope that they don't stop where they are, but keep pushing their shade ranges to be larger. So that's it for foundations. Now let's talk about concealers. This was one of the easiest categories for me to decide on for my favorites because there were two concealers that released this year that I love so much. I don't use anything else other than these two concealers since I got my hands on them. I have done dedicated videos on both of these products where I swatched all the shades and I did a demo. I cannot say enough good things about both of these. The formula feels very similar to me. First up is the Too Faced Born This Way Super Coverage Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer. That is a mouthful of a name. I freaking love this stuff so much. It covers so beautifully. It's got just the right amount of coverage. It's not so full coverage that it looks weird and unnatural on your skin, but it covers everything really easily. A little bit goes a long way. You get a ton of product in here, so the value is insane. It's priced at $29, which is pretty expensive for one concealer, but I mean, it practically looks like a foundation. There's so much in here. It comes in 20 shades. That's the only downside. I wish there were a few more shade options because I do feel that Too Faced face products tend to run a little bit yellow or like peachy undertoned. Nonetheless, I love this so much. I actually wear this mixed with the other concealer that I love so much. This is the MAC Studio Fix 24-Hour Smooth Wear Concealer. These both have such long names. What's up with that? I love this MAC concealer for all the same reasons that I love the Too Faced one. This is $22. You get less product, but it comes in 33 shades, so there are a lot more shade options. If you want to try the Too Faced one, but you can't find your shade, try out this MAC Studio Fix concealer. I love it just as much. I wore this Too Faced concealer all summer long in the shade Almond, and now that my tan has gone away, I'm not out in the sun as much, I mix in a little bit of the MAC concealer in the shade NW15 to sort of tone down the shade. This is just a match made in heaven. I love these so much. If you take nothing else from this video, this and the Coconut Fix Plus is really the nitty-gritty. I'm so excited about these concealers. I will never stop raving about them. I don't know what 2019 is gonna do to measure up to these, but I'm excited for 2019 to try it, but I don't know. This is like the epitome of concealer for me. Is that dramatic? Maybe. The very last category that I'm going to talk about in this video is powders. I have 3 powders that I loved this year. I'm very picky about my powders. It takes a lot for a powder to look good on dry skin, at least in my experience. This has got to be one of the coolest powders I've ever tried, literally and figuratively. This is the Becca HYDRAMIST powder. I don't know what magic technology they used in this, but when I brush it onto my face, it feels like a cooling water just being brushed over my face by little hydration angels. This stuff is pretty pricey. It's $38 and it only comes in 1 shade. That's sort of the downside. I wish there were more options, but I think it's totally worth the price because this looks so freaking good on my dry skin. I really, really love this stuff. If you haven't tried it, just go in store and just feel it and see what I mean. It's so cool. The next powder that I want to talk about is another loose powder, and this is another one from the Too Faced Born This Way line. I love the Born This Way line, if you can't tell. This powder is just so light and soft. It does not look heavy on my skin. It doesn't cling to my dryness like other loose powders often can. Another thing I like about this is it comes in 3 shades. We love options, and when it comes to a setting powder, the universal shade that most brands end up producing is just gonna look too pale and ashy on deeper skin tones. So I love that they have some shade options here. This one is priced at $33 and I think it's worth every single penny. I love it. And the very last item in this favorites video is a pressed powder. This is another one from MAC. MAC does powders so well. This one is no exception. This is the Studio Waterweight Pressed Powder. Hopefully you can't tell on camera, but this powder is so beat up. I love this thing. I carry it in my purse for touch-ups. I use it for setting my concealer. I use it for setting all over my face. I love everything about this powder. I love the split pan option. There's a slightly deeper, warmer option on top, and then a little bit lighter, cooler powder on the bottom. I use the lighter powder to set my concealer areas like under my eye where I want more brightness, and then I can kind of mix and adjust just depending on how tan I am. I can mix the 2 shades together to set the rest of my face or to touch up. This little split pan idea is brilliant enough on its own, but then the powder itself is really finely milled. It's very, very light. It looks super skin-like. Even when I touch up, I don't end up looking like caked on and powdery. Plus, this comes in 11 shade options. MAC is always coming through with a lot of shades for us. We love you for that, MAC. This one's priced at $36. And you do also get this little brush in here. I like that for sort of on-the-go touch-ups. It's not something that I really use when I sit down at my vanity to do my makeup at home, but I just like that option. They thought of everything. I'm such a huge fan of this powder. This is probably my most used powder of the year. If I had to rank them, I would put this one in first, but I don't have to rank them. It's my video and I don't want to. Of course, I can't try everything, but I did get the chance to try a lot of products this year. I would love to hear what your favorite things were this year. What did you keep going back to? What do you hope to see released next year? Leave a comment and let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my next video, which will be my best of 2018 face color favorites. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Oh boy, it's gonna be a long one. Insert like a Meghan Trainor meme, since I just said that. I may be old, but I'm also culturally great. Off to a smooth start. So freaking much. I love the Born the Way. It's powder. Next video, which will be my what's it gonna be? Anyone help me out here? I haven't struggled with an outro that much in a while. It's fine. You're gonna be fine.